Good evening, good evening, good evening, good people. I'm sure you're wondering who on earth is this woman because you're not usually seeing this face. You're used to seeing another face, which will be coming on soon enough. So, welcome to another episode of Between the Covers. This is a show that gets up close and personal with authors and experts in the publishing field. It's a chance for you to find out what goes on between the covers of creating a book and really delve into that author journey. Now, there is a wonderful lady that's going to be telling you a lot more about that kind of stuff than I am, but I will introduce myself. My name is Dilys Sillah. I am the best-selling author of the book Not This Widow, published, hint, hint, by Conscious Dreams Publishing. I'm an MC, I'm a minister, I'm a speaker, I'm a accredited and qualified life coach. I'm the founder of a couple of charities. So I do a lot of stuff, and I'm the host of Speak with Dilys. So it's going to be an amazing evening. Today we're going to be speaking to the lovely Daniella Blechner. I call her Danny. And she is going to be speaking to us about her wonderful new book. And I really cannot wait to have this conversation. And as we speak, it will be more evident as to why I have such, what can I say, such an interest, in this book. So before we start, just show some love, send some hearts. If you're going to watch this on the replay, please do #replay so that we can know how many people have watched afterwards. Next time, make sure you catch us live. And let us know where you're watching from and how you are enjoying the show. So yes, I will hope that our wonderful guest will be popping on any second from now. But yes, it's usually hosted by Daniella Blechner. She's an author as well, obviously. She's a book journey mentor and founder of Conscious Dreams Publishing. And today she has asked me to be her host of this special edition of Between the Covers to interview her. So that's kind of interesting, which I'm returning the favor because when I published my book some years back, she hosted for me and it was a wonderful experience. So yes. Danny, where are you? Drum roll.
Hello, thank you for the lovely introduction.
We're excited to have you on here because I'm sure these wonderful people did not come to see me, they came to see you. So whilst that thing is just spinning around, I will just do a couple of announcements, so to speak. So if you watch this on the replay, please do just put replay on there for us. That would be amazing. And that would be helpful. Mm-hmm. So how many of you have actually gone and bought the book or have read the book? Because I'm telling you, you need to. And when we start having this conversation, you will understand the reason why it's such a wonderful book, to read. And though I know Danny and I have obviously spoken, we've been friends now for quite some time. A very long time, mainly because she published my book some years back, and the way that whole journey was and the support that I was given, it just became a really lovely, relationship between the two of us. So I know that Danny has always wanted to be a children's author, and she's finally cracked that dream with, 9 Days of Piper Snow. I know that Danny seems to be having a little bit of trouble.
I'm inside. I'm here, but you can't see me.
But this is show business. And it happens.
I'm here. You can't see
me. But
me.
I'm not going to be tempted to tell you about the book. I want her to come and do that. And she will be, hopefully, in just a second. So just a little bit about my relationship with Danny. As I said, we kind of got connected because I wanted to do my book, Not This Widow. And it being a very sensitive book about grief, I was really particular about who I was going to allow to be a part of that journey. And, it being an extremely difficult book to write, that journey was made a lot easier because I did this book with Conscious Dreams Publishing. So when she describes herself as a book journey mentor, she really is that. She does mentor you and she supports you and she makes you feel with, the story that you're trying to tell. Because with a lot of Danny's authors, and I know there are non-fiction and fiction, a lot of people who are writing their own stories that are really, really personal, she does a great job in giving you that support to lead you through that journey. So for me, it really is quite an honor to be sat here waiting for her to join us.
Thank you, everybody, for joining and for being so patient. I can't tell you how that felt, kind of being there, and you're like, hello, I'm here. She can't hear or see me for some reason. So I'm really excited about sharing with me, no problem, sharing with you a little bit about my book, 9 Days of Piper Snow. Again, as Dilys said, this show is called Between the Covers, normally hosted by myself. I'm really excited about being interviewed by Dilys. So I'm going to bring her back in, and let's pray, please, that she is able to see and hear me.
Oh.
Hooray. Okay, here we go. I'm so sorry, everybody, for that. We've never had technical difficulties. And the one day that I'm being interviewed, unfortunately, we are. So I'm going to hand over to Dilys.
Whoops. Yeah. So I have to drop because I'm in my pajama bottoms, because obviously when I'm on the laptop, you can't see that much of me, but you can now. So hello, Danny. Good evening. I'm so sorry. You know, like I said, this is show business. It happens. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited about releasing my book tomorrow and having an interview.
You know what I was saying, and I don't know if you could hear me before, I was just giving a little bit of a background of our relationship. And I was saying that I'm really excited about this book, but I don't want to even attempt to mention anything about it before you do. So 9 Days of Piper Snow, I would like to know, what was your inspiration for this book? For those that don't know already. Yeah.
Oh, for those who haven't been following me on social media, it's been a very, very interesting journey. So back in May, we moved house not too long ago in March, and I have my dad's things all packed up, and I have a special table for him and his photos. And I just didn't unpack them. The last thing for me to unpack, and I unpacked everything, and I put my dad's photo on the windowsill, or my gran, who's also passed away, on the windowsill. Went downstairs, came back up. 10 minutes later, there's a white pigeon that had come from nowhere, literally inside my office on the windowsill, just staring like that. And of course, we fed him, because what do you do when you see a pigeon? People would shoo it away. And he's just come back daily. He's not afraid. He's just determined to get into my office every single day. Every day would have a battle, and he'd climb in and squeeze himself in like this way, any sort of shape to get in through that window, even if it's open a crack. When I looked up the symbolism behind pigeons, number one, there's lots, messages from loved ones, but also about reigniting passions you had when you were young. And it's always been a dream of mine to publish a children's book. Before any other kind of book. I wanted to be a children's author, and I just haven't done it. I've been taken on a different path, and then helped so many other people publish their books. And something about that pigeon watching me through the window as I'm on the computer working, I just had a massive, people say I had a download, but I had I was with all this inspiration, and I wrote the story in 20 minutes and just got it done. I've never been so inspired. It's real life.
Beautiful. I read the book. And I have to say, the character looks so much like you.
Do you know what? I sent the illustrator some pictures of me when I was young. So I didn't necessarily want it.
No, but I think it's beautiful. And I think if you tell us this, you've given us a little bit of the inspiration behind the book, but there's a spirit behind the book. And I think that's what touched me, because it's a children's book. I am nowhere near a child, but as an adult, I related to that book from a different perspective. So take us through a little bit of the story of 9 Days of Piper Snow and the actual character. And I'll explain to you how, as an adult, I feel it's still very relatable.
Okay. Well, it starts as a young girl called Samara, as you can see.
Yeah.
That's actually my dad. That's actually a real picture.
Brilliant illustration. I know what your dad looks like, so that's absolutely fantastic.
Who's spot on.
Yeah.
So she's lost her dad, and she's finding it very hard to connect. You know, as you do, you're young, you're going through loss. You don't know how to talk about it, and you might not want to talk about it. And this pigeon, you know, she's missing her dad, and then this pigeon suddenly mysteriously lands on her windowsill, and it gives her an outlet. It gives her a different kind of connection. I think there's something very special about animals. They're very intuitive, and they don't talk back. So you can literally just talk, you know, for young people, it's a great source of comfort. You know, you can talk and just feel like you're listened to, and they can be. Special Piper, he pecks a lot. He means well. He does peck a lot, but, you know, they just have a real sense of affection, I find. So it's about connection, and it's about just giving her that extra spark of life, and without ruining it. It's about cherishing memories. It's about time that we spend with loved ones. You know, our grief is measured by how much we love somebody, and I know that you're with this journey, and it's the fact that she learns in the end that is anything ever really gone forever if you have those really important cherished memories, and nothing does last forever. So yeah,
I think that's what I loved about it, because I'm looking at it from a perspective that's very personal to me. I haven't lost my father, but my daughter has. And so I'm looking at the dynamics of how her mother related to her, but also I didn't have a pigeon story, but when my late husband passed away, what I did have was a robin that would come every morning at the same time. Did I ever tell you this?
No, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah, every morning for months.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what was really strange. It was during the moment he passed away, during the most difficult times, the moment I was healing and I was better, I would only see that robin every so often. So your story was very special to me when I read it. And that's why I said earlier on that it's not just a children's book. It's a book that can take you on a journey and allow you to swap places with that child, you know. So I think it's very special.
Can I touch on what you said? I think that's beautiful. And I was at the Black Book Festival a few weeks ago, and the amount of people I had conversations with who all had very similar experiences. They'd lost somebody, and it was always a bird. And somebody was working with a young boy who'd lost his dad, and then there was a robin that would, same as you, robin, everything. And then the teacher would be talking with the boy, and this robin would just come and just be sat between them. And I also recently discovered there was a woman, she wrote, no, she didn't write a book. She was training. She was a sporty, I think she was a biker. She used to ride bicycles. And she had an accident where she was paralyzed, I think, from the waist down. So that was kind of her life purpose, to really reevaluate her life. And then this magpie came to visit her, and it was there every single day, became part of the house, became part of the family. You know, you had months and months and months of like footage of the family and the magpie. And then one day she slowly got better, you know, years later, and then she went to compete in the Olympics. And that same day she went to compete, that magpie left and never came back.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's such a beautiful concept, even just to give people that have lost a loved one that hope that you're right. Do things really die? I think it comes down to your, you know, belief system. I mean, when you lost your dad, how did that journey feel? But, you know, relating it to the book.
That's a really tough question. It's
deep, right?
I can't go back there. I can't explain how it feels. It was extremely painful because it was unexpected. But this is about any kind of loss of realizing. I mean, the one beautiful thing I think was the sense of gratitude I had for being able to have a dad who was there, who was very special, who was very kind. And I think what helped me through it was hearing other people speak of him so highly. And, you know, and having sisters and family, I could talk about memories, and we, you know, we have lots of photos, you know, and even photos I haven't seen of him, you know, when he was really young growing up. And so I think those memories is what keeps somebody alive. And those photos became really precious to me, which is why I take photos all the time. You know? All the time.
And I have to say, it's almost criminal how much you look like your dad. It's nearly as bad as me and mine.
Your dad is ridiculous.
Why? It's just like, there you go, I have my face. Just stick some hair on you. You know, it's really, don't you find that strange?
I don't know. I've always had this face, so I don't know. I can't see. You know, I don't know. I can't see.
Oh my gosh, Danny, you are the spit of your dad. It's like when I don't have makeup on and I look in the mirror, even my siblings laugh at me. There's times where they'll just look at me and laugh, like, what's the matter? You look so much like dad. So, you know, when I guess it's part of what I feel can be very comforting, having that connection and seeing the similarities and the mannerisms.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, actually. After that, can we go through some of the comments? Because there's some really good stuff.
I can't see, so
I'm going to highlight them and then I'll let you, can read that. But I had a friend called Paul Dankwa, very good friend. And sadly, he passed away, same age, a bit younger than me, and he passed away 2 months after my dad, right? And there's something that he said to me, we went to uni together, that stuck with me forever and really helped me through my grief at the time. He said, I wish I could have the message on me. I don't want to open it now because I'll get emotional. But it was something along the lines of he'd lost his own dad, and he said that he found that his dad lived on through him, through what he calls dadisms. And I find myself, I work with young people. My dad was really good with young people. He showed so much reverence, you know, treated them, you know, didn't baby them, didn't talk down to them like some people do. And I find myself doing and saying similar things to my dad. One of them, like the other day in the classroom, right? Sometimes if you were talking to my dad or telling him a long story, he'd be like, yes, yeah. Every time you say something, I found myself saying it to a kid the other day. And I was like, I've become my dad, or really? You know, it's like they're living through you, and it is a sort of comfort and humor, I guess, in a way.
That is lovely. I actually have managed to get on, even though you can't see me on my laptop. I can see some messages now. So
you let me know which ones they are. I'll highlight them.
So I can see Ali. She says, good evening, watching from Northolt. So excited and a big fan of Piper. Excellent. And then I can see Jay Ben Liu saying, good evening, hi, how are you? Yep, we're both great. Let me see what else I can see. I think there's some more comments coming in. Ali is saying, love seeing photos of your dad. I see his character shines through and really felt connected in your grief, remembering when I lost my brother. I'm so sorry for your loss, Ali. And you see, with a story like this, as I said, we're saying children's book, but it's like it's a double blessing. Do you see what I mean? That adults and children can appreciate, you know, the beauty of, you know, 9 Days of Piper Snow.
Thank you. And that's the message, I guess. We've got Angie Lamar on. Hey! Watching from Jamaica. Angie's actually published a variety of children's books, and one of them centers around I think it's a character and a lizard, which is a sort of similar message. I'm really looking forward to getting mine.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
Big up, Angie. Shorty says, good evening, everybody. Hello, Shorty. And we've got Marcia. I totally know how you feel, as people say the same with me and my mum.
Yeah, it is funny. I don't look like my mother at all. She could disown me, and no one would bat an eyelid. But yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to ask you, Danny, is having always wanted to have been a children's author, I'm assuming that this was a natural transition for you because you had something that I think, I mean, reading the story just came very, very naturally. It doesn't look like this is your first children's book at all.
Wow.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, everything about it, the characters, the animation, the quality of the book, it's so easy to read. The style of it, and I'm not going to give that away, was just like, seriously?
It's funny because the very first book I wrote, and I haven't published yet actually, so I started in 2007. It's a more of a novel. It's a children's fantasy novel, but it's for an older group, so 7 to 12, that kind of age, or 10 to 12, I would say. I've been working on that for years and years and years. I mean, it's a life project, that one, but I'm going to release it soon. So I always knew I might have wanted to even go younger, write for a younger audience, and I haven't. It's written in verse, so I love poetry. So sometimes I'm thinking verse, I'm thinking rhythm, like numbers have a rhythm, you know, everything has a rhythm and a style to it. So when all I knew is that Piper at the start had come. It was called 9 Days of Piper Snow because he came for the first 9 days every single day, and then there were like 3 days where he didn't come, you know, didn't start coming. And there was a feeling, and I remember posting on Facebook, and I was sort of serious, but I wasn't. And I said they felt like there was a bit of a void, a sense of grief of like, you know, I've taken this pigeon for granted. I've become, you know, it's normal that it's come for 9 days and suddenly it's gone. And it was almost like, you know, in the book, the same thing happens to Samara, where she's hit with that sense of loss and grief again, that something's gone. Where's it gone? And then, you know, I found out that the neighbor had taken it. You have to read the book to get it. So the neighbor actually had taken the bird on 2 years ago after he followed him into outside his restaurant. And then the neighbor had moved, which is why it started coming to me. Interestingly enough, the pigeons started coming to the neighbor's house when they were losing their grandma. So I kind of lost my train of thought there because I'm thinking like 10 things at the same time. So I can't remember what did you ask me originally?
Even I can't remember. No, I think I was talking about how easy it was for you to transition to write a children's book. Daddy, you make me laugh.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Sometimes I'm thinking like 5, 10.
Well, if you're drinking something, it better be water.
Water.
I see Marcy's just put up here that she goes, I'm writing my first children's book and it's about bereavement. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to come back to that in a second.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So yeah, Danny, I was saying that, you know. Oh.
Is your phone on, Dilys?
No. Nothing about it.
I'm going to take your other device out the studio. Okay, there you go. That's it. Jay Benlow says, in Jamaica, the number 9 is associated with mourning, hence 9 night. Of course. Of course. 9 days of Piper Snow, 9 night. 9 days of mourning. That's very interesting. Thank you for that.
Oh, I can't read the messages unless I come back again. I don't know why that happened actually.
Don't worry, I'll pull the messages up when they come.
Coolio. All right, let me see.
Oh, Dilys is gone. Okay, so if anyone has any questions for me, please let me know. Do you like my banner? It's my banner for the launch. I've got a launch on Saturday, the 18th of November, and it's in Croydon. We'll be doing pin the wing on the pigeon, lots of games, competition for children. They're going to be writing a descriptive piece or a poem about their favorite pet, which can be real or imaginary. I work with young people, so I have got they've written in all these postcards. I've got so many postcards. Here you go.
Oh, that's wow.
I've told them specifically that I am not judging because I know it's going to come back on me. So I blame my friend who's an English teacher. I said, I've got nothing to do with the judging. It's not coming back to me because they all want to win.
I mean, I think it sounds amazing. And just as you held up those cards and, you know how my brain works, Danny, I'm listening to people saying, oh, I'm writing a children's book. And, someone said they're writing on bereavement. And as you know, I have a foundation that deals with widows and, and their children. And I was just thinking it would be so brilliant to be able to have these kind of books, to use it as a resource to help children through their grief. And, the beauty about children's books, obviously, is, you get children to imagine and they go off into their whole fantasy world. And if there's one thing that I think is needed, especially around bereavement, is escapism.
Exactly.
So to create a book, especially with something that, whether rich, poor, wherever you're from, there's always going to be birds around you. So it's not something that, again, it's only for the selected few. And for a child to have that introduced to them at a time in their life when they are at their lowest, I think it just opens up so many different opportunities.
100%. And I think you picked up on it. It is escapism. The pigeon does symbolize escapism for her. You know, yes, she sees her mum every day. Yes, she sits down at the table with her mum every day, but they're going through the same grief together. They can't, she doesn't know how to connect. She can't have that conversation. She just knows that she's sad. And then this pigeon brings, without saying anything, brings a sense of surprise and joy and something that she can look after and nurture. And it is a sense of escapism, but also a real source of comfort for her as well.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And I think what I liked about the book as well is there's two characters. You've got the little girl and you've got the pigeon, and just showing that connection. Because again, going back to kids, and as you rightly said, children don't have the vocabulary to be able to articulate their emotions when it comes to grief. I mean, goodness, adults, we look at how we struggle, so just giving children that hope as well, that there is a mouthpiece, so to speak, for them, where they can express themselves through something that you never would have thought, So, yeah, I just loved everything about how it was written and the simplicity of it, but yet how deep it was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Just make sure you write a review on Amazon for me.
Oh, that's easy. I'll tell you where to send the check.
Can I share it?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So I also, before that, I want to big up the illustrator, amazing Victor Onyanyobi, based in Dubai. I've been wanting to work with him for a while. He's done a range of different books.
He did a great job.
Love his style. He's got the vision really well. Naya Davis, who has done the animated series. I'm going to be posting the full length 10-minute video. I'm really proud of it. She just, the attention to detail that she's put in there. Honestly, I watched it and I cried. Just how talented she is. So yeah, she narrated it and it's amazing. Yeah, I'll try and be as good as I'm reading it. Okay. Samara glanced out of her window, looking really sad. It was a year ago today she lost her beloved dad. She wished she could magic herself away to a faraway land, but all she did was laugh and build castles in the sand. You've got her there.
Yes, lovely.
Come down to dinner. It's time to eat your food. Her mum called her down, but she wasn't in the mood. She flicked her peas around her plate and picked at her dish. She glanced across the table. There was one person that she missed. I'll do one more page. You can see it. I really love this picture here.
It's fabulous. Yeah.
Okay. When dinner was over, she trudged up the stairs full of gloom, but nothing would prepare her for the guest inside her room. She looked it in the eye, and it stood very still. There it was, as white as snow, upon her windowsill. There's my
That's the picture of your dad that I thought was just fantastic.
He's done a great job, hasn't he? I'm really, really pleased.
It's really quite outstanding. It really is. So where do you envisage this book going? Because there has been a lot of interest. You've had tell us some of the media interest that you have, because that's
when you just started. I mean, I wrote this in June and I didn't get this illustrated till September, and I really wanted to get this out on pre-order by my dad passed away on the 24th of October, so we had it on pre-order by that time, and it's released on the 17th of November, which is the day we officially said goodbye to my dad at the funeral. Yeah. So it's been doing quite a lot of stuff in a very short space of time. In that time, I have had an interview with the BBC on the Happy podcast. So it's like bite-sized interviews, happy stories. I sound a bit like a mad pigeon lady, but I don't mind.
I love it. It's a great story. I mean, I saw it from when it began. So where it's come to is like, wow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
No, it really is.
I've got a review coming up in the South London Press. We've been in The Voice. I've got the launch. I'm going to be doing story time at Croydon Waterstones. Hopefully Clapham Waterstones and Hounslow Library as well. So the aim is to do a book tour and just try and get it out as much as possible. I have there's a couple of things here. Ali says, I watch with dread when Piper's on your head thinking, don't poop, don't poop.
And I'm thinking poop.
Yeah, I know you would do. Yeah, you're cancelled, Dilys. Oh, my aunt's on. She's giving me some kisses. That's lovely. Oh, Red Oxtail. This is Neville, my partner. Don't be fooled. Sometimes talking to inanimate objects or animals during difficult times is easier than talking to people. 100%.
Yeah, it can be, definitely.
Neville's friends with the pigeon now, aren't you?
Neville looked so unimpressed that day. I was laughing. Talk about a man of few words. I could not stop laughing. I was like, leave the poor man alone. It's not in it.
He loves the pigeon now. Oh dear. Jay says, why were you not scared or surprised? Have you always been spiritual? Some people are scared of birds inside rooms. Can I touch on that question? When it was inside, it was more shock. I've never seen anything like it. We got it out straight away. So it wasn't like, hey, jump on my head. I was like, come out, like the mum in the book. And then when it was outside, we fed it. So I wasn't scared of, scared of the pigeon. Obviously didn't want it inside. There was when I put it on Facebook, a lot of people were like, oh, let it in your house, let's see what it does.
It wasn't their house.
You can do it in your house. There was no way on God's green earth that's that going to happen here. I remember being very young and a sparrow flew in by accident, and they get really confused. Like, I thought that this pigeon would like not know anything and be flying around bashing its head. This pigeon knows a home. That's not my house, but what I'm saying is he's used to, the home environment. House. So when I left the window open by accident and was downstairs and I heard the pigeon cooing, and I came up and he was just roaming around like this place was his.
Basically, the push pigeon is what you're saying. It's the pigeon with levels.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then it was like kept flying onto my dad's desk. And I kind of they kept flying onto my dad's pile of letters that is like a box of letters that, I've got that he gave and received when he was at uni. And I took that as a message to start reading them again. I got him off the table, but he kept landing on it. He knows not to now. Never pooped this whole time. Well, he has now. That's why he's outside now. But I was so scared. Like the idea of picking him up, I would never do it. It took me 2 or 3 months to researching, and then finally picked him up when he would not leave and he did poo. I got so angry, I just picked him up. I thought, oh, I've broken this fear of picking him up. And now he kind of jumps on my shoulder, goes on my head.
I saw the other day.
He literally thinks we're, I don't know. And I accept it. He's my friend.
It's strange though, isn't it though? It's better than having a bloody snake.
Yeah. I wouldn't want a snake in my house.
Or a rat.
No.
Those kind of animals, I'm like, no.
Bye-bye. But you never know. I would have thought that of a pigeon. I don't know. I've always loved pigeons.
Listen, if it was one of those animals, I would not be interviewing you. I'll be like, Danny,
you're on your own.
You're on your own.
And so Joe's saying, have you always been spiritual? Always looking. There's always a deeper meaning behind everything. And as much as I laugh, there's people saying, oh, it's your dad. It's like, it's not my dad. But I think it's a representation or a messenger. I have my own beliefs and things. And it is a deeply spiritual thing in the sense that it's helped me connect back to a spiritual part of my own self and to my own purpose and dreams and things that I've wanted to do from a young age and just haven't done for some reason. I've helped so many people do it, but I haven't done it myself, and something about it. And I have gratitude for Piper, as much as he pecks me and I keep chucking him out the window, I love him.
But you're right, he symbolizes something.
Yeah.
And it's something outside of yourself, if that makes sense. it's like not of this world, even though you know that, yes, it's a physical pigeon, just as I, experienced when my late husband passed away. That robin, I knew that, of course, it's a physical bird that's there, but I knew that the meaning was something spiritual. And even if it was just for comfort and for nothing else, it's very relatable. And as you said, it's interesting that so many people have had a similar experience when a loved one passes away, that there is something that comes in the form of an animal, or a bird or what have you, to give that comfort. And I think it's very deep, very, very deep. And, for you to translate that into a book, to share that, to almost articulate that whole experience for people makes perfect sense. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I've got my aunt here. Hello, Auntie. Sue says, I think you've helped us to think about accepting that and loved via your story. Yeah, I mean, that is a big part of it as well, because in the book, there's a neighbour that says, it's vermin and disease ridden. And there is so many people who view pigeons in a negative way. And it's like, well, hold on. And they're not just reflective of humans. They were wild birds that used to migrate. Now they stay here and they're feral because we have left the streets in such a dire, that's why they're dusty and dirty, and why they're associated with that and pecking at other people's food and seen as a nuisance. But actually, they're highly intelligent. I mean, I can reel off a lot of facts about pigeons if you want. They can distinguish letters. They know, they can recognize different people, even if you change clothes. And like when Piper looks at me, he'll have like a certain way, he'll cock his head. He's always thinking, he's always working things out, and they're extremely intelligent. Yeah.
It's amazing. So what would be your final words in regards to this book, and, where people can get it? Tell us again about the book launch, any up and coming interviews, and where we can continue to follow this very interesting story.
So you can follow myself at Conscious Dreams Publishing on Instagram and also Facebook, or Daniella Blechner on Facebook. You can also follow Piper Snow under Piper Snow on Facebook, or Piper Snow the Pigeon on Instagram. He's got more followers than he's following. Name of mine. I'm always following more people than I know. And I have a review coming out in South London Press. I'm not sure when that is coming out this week, so whenever the paper's out, it'll be there. I'll check that out. I'm hopping over to Instagram to have another short interview with Dilys right now. What else? Hopefully, I hate the word hopefully, I will be doing story time at Croydon Waterstones and going on a book tour, Hounslow Library. I need to get all the dates in place, and just watch this space. Here is the book, 9 Days of Piper Snow, available at the Conscious Dreams bookshop. It's in the links wherever you're watching. It's in the links. If you're watching on Instagram, you wouldn't be, because we're not on Instagram. So it's in the links, and that's it. I've got book launch on Saturday, which is sold out. So if you've booked and you can't come, please do just cancel your ticket so we can allow a few others who can come to come. I'll be quiet now.
Fantastic. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I feel very honoured that you asked me to do this interview with you. You've done an amazing job. And guys, if you want to continue the quick conversation that we're going to be having on Instagram, please do join us. But do get the book. It's a beautiful book. You've seen a little bit of it. I'm not going to tell you all the nitty-gritty bits because the author hasn't. So guys, thank you for watching, and stay tuned, and make sure that you meet Danny again next week, Thursday, I think, possibly.
Correct.
At the same time. Yes. And continue to enjoy this journey with her. And if you want to publish a book, please do get in touch with Danny at Conscious Dreams Publishing. There is no other publisher for me, I'm sorry, but I think she's absolutely fantastic. And it is what it is. So guys, thank you for joining us, and
thank you. Just one thing, now that you've said that, I will be back being the host this time. Thank you so much, Dilys. I'm interviewing the awesome and amazing Lee Brandon, who's published a book which is coming out next Friday, Eliminating Adult Acne for Good. It's full of just phenomenal knowledge. Like it's jam-packed, full of pearls of wisdom. So do join us next week, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. EST, Thursday the 23rd. Have an awesome day. Bye.